Well, hello, 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 for everybody that's watching this live feed. I'm pretty excited about having my guest on today. And by the way, it's other than recently doing the Friday mornings, I haven't done a show in, well, a while. So I'm excited to have my very first guest in a while, my friend Tiffany Cano, and you're going to love her. Well, I'm just going to bring her on because there's no introduction necessary. We used to work together and kind of do some joint healing where we'd work with each other and we had some profound effects. She's an amazing, incredible healer, and she's coming all the way from California here on the virtual stage with us. So I'm just going to bring it on and we're going to spend the next half hour chatting about her work. Hello,
Woohoo!
hello. How's it going?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me. And
Yeah, thanks
I
for
always love our
coming.
time together.
Yeah, it's always a good time, always a good time. So, yeah, so well, first of all, let's just get the small talk. How is California?
Thankfully, at least in my house and immediate area, we're okay. But there are many other places that did get mudslides and flash floods, and the rain clouds have moved a little east. So there's still people that are east of me that might be in trouble, but I'm okay here in Orange County.
Yeah, it was. We had my group coaching call the other day. I had somebody in their car because they drove to a place where they could get a good reception, and there was no power in their house. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, that I didn't even know what was going on. And then another friend of mine from San Francisco, he called me on his phone, and he was in a tent in his living room because he didn't have any power in his house. I was like, what's going on in California? And so, of course, you have to look it up.
Yeah, my chickens weren't too happy. I have some hens in my backyard,
Oh,
and the rain was coming in, from multiple angles, and so 2/3 of their floor was mud piles and puddles, and they were looking at me with like these big eyes, like, "Do something!" And I'm like, "I've been praying, and I'm sorry, rain happens, and you have a roof over your head, and you've got perches. You'll be okay."
yeah, imagine what they have to go through in North Dakota and flatlands when a tornado comes through. I mean, my grandfather used to have to handle chickens and those. But so tell us a little bit about, I mean, how did you get into the healing world? How long have you been in it? And, what's your, how do you work your modality? I mean, I'll talk about it from my perspective when, kind of,
Okay.
yeah.
Ever since I was a toddler, I could see energy clairvoyantly and I could feel energy. I was super empathic. I could put my hands on an alley and it would feel better, but I didn't exactly know what I was doing, but that I could do it.
Hmm.
And then I was at my dad's farm. He's a horse trainer, and he saw me doing something that looked like massage. So he goes, "You should charge for that, like $1 for 10 minutes." So I was like, okay, and I started my entrepreneurial healing career, that young. And I've definitely raised my prices since then. I'm no longer $1 for 10 minutes. And, started studying with different healing masters from 13 years onward. My mom was always a big support in that arena where she was also very interested in alternative stuff. And, so I had some family members who were confused and afraid of it, and others, like my mom specifically, that were supportive. And so I just honed and refined my skills. I literally learned things, and this is as a teenager, things like laying out of hens, gemstone healing, Reiki, reflexology, um, shamanism. I was doing meditation retreats. And then I went to college for sports medicine. And then after that, I became a chronic healing instructor in my 20s. And then I went on to EFT, NLP, Sedona release, summit transformation, and my modality, which is quantum empowerment technique. It just came like a divine whoosh and has been
Mm.
so healing for subconscious wounds and traumas and letting go of old stuff. Oh, Yeah, so I've been certifying other people in how to apply that um, as a coach and healer in their own business. And life's been fantastic and magical and, a journey.
It certainly is a journey. That's one of those things where I don't think any of us has been gone through this work and they're like it's been a journey, but it's fun too. It's when you follow your soul or your passion or your, how do I say it, path, whatever purpose,
Hmm.
then it's there's obviously ups and downs in that, but um, it's you're on the right track. If that make I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but I just that's how I feel it. I just yeah, when I go through those hard times, well, I know I'm on the right track. And so
It's that surrendering to the bumps, so that instead of it being bump bump bump, ow, my butt is getting bruised, bump bump bump, it's like just ride the wave, sister, just ride the wave.
that way you don't get the cosmic 2x4 bump.
Ah,
That's the one we don't want.
I, yeah, I try that, but once in a while I still get it. Like I just came out of a cycle of cosmic 2x4. Ow. It wasn't fun.
Yeah,
I
yeah. But
so
don't you believe that we kind of grow from that?
oh,
That's our where a lot of our growth is through those hard times.
absolutely. Every single time I go through something challenging, on the other side is like the most beautiful upgrade. And because it's happened so often, I now have faith and trust that this too shall pass, and I will be opening up to the bounty and beauty of life, and I'll be bright and shiny on the other side. It's just,
It'll be
breathing through it
it'll
when
be
it's happening.
it'll be one great story when you get on the other side.
Indeed.
So how do you so in you're in your healing modality, and just kind of tell you guys this is something for about a year. She and I would talk to each other once a week, and we would just help each other through any blocks or any potentials that we would work through. And so there was a point, um, what at the one point in the beginning where I just had nothing was working. Like it was just, I mean, I was content and I was happy and all that other kind of stuff. But as far as like finances, nothing was happening. And within a month of working with Tiffany, I got a consulting gig, and it was a very well-paying consulting gig. So it's one of those things where the work that she was doing, that we were doing together, that was kind of building energy into that, and we, you know, kind of, I think we helped each other during that time frame. So, but she does have, it was very powerful time for me in that when she had helped me through that. So yeah, yeah. So
Absolutely. And I'm glad we had that time together, and I'm so grateful that it was able to help you. I mean, being able to shift the empathic, spiritual, intuitives into upgrades for money, health, love, spirituality, boundaries, empowerment, like those tend to be the core things that people come to me for. So it was definitely in my wheelhouse, and I'm really glad that we could bring in some ka-ching prosperity and abundanza for you.
oh, speaking of kaching,
Yes.
let's just drop this out there. Tiffany has a freebie. So
Ooh, ooh.
it's a kaching course. It's called Money Magnet Intensive Program. So I'm going to drop that here in the comments.
Nice.
So it posted on YouTube just right now, and I'm going to drop it on Facebook. But while I'm doing that, can you talk about some of the things that where people really kind of get blocked up as far as like their abundance and love and health and even their spiritual connection? What are some of the things that you see with people that we get caught up in?
Yes, yes. So we'll just start with the money piece because he was just talking about it, and you can get that at moneymagnetprogram.org, moneymagnetprogram.org, and it'll have 20 minutes of prosperity healings over 20 days, and every single day is a different focus that will help you with money. So, what I find, no matter if they come to me because they need money or they need to release the fear, the stress, the worry, the anxiety that's been bogging them down, or they've got, these health ailments, or they want to open up to love and just keep getting their heart crushed. You know, what I do is I guide them with love to go into those blind spot areas, the subconscious mind, the deeper core wounds that are often about not feeling loved, not feeling seen, heard, understood, safe, or belong, worthy or deserving. Like those are typically those core wounds. And when that gets significantly healed, it automatically helps to the person to make more money, have more health, more love. Like it ripples out to all of it because these core wounds affect every aspect of our life. So when you're open and receptive and ready and willing to take those leaps and faiths, to be brave, to be courageous, to go within the shadow self, which I call like anything that isn't yet healed, then as we lovingly purge those and help you to stand in a place of love and empowerment and take those divinely guided actions to improve your life, it changes everything. It has that huge ripple effect, which is why I really, really love doing the deep core work.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's really interesting too because I think that, and this is something that I've really just been uncovering. I always say there's things we know here, and then you go through it and you realize, wow, that was really deep. And so there's been some things that I've been uncovering even recently. And Jacqueline, thank you so much for listening and enjoy. Um, so what I've found is that there's such deep things, buried in the subconscious, we're not even aware of it, and it's something that we think we've healed, and then we did it like 10 years ago, and then we're like, oh, I've been through this before. Well, those beach balls underwater pop up, and so they're extra things that you have to look at. Sorry to tell you, but it's just a part of that. So
Right. I think a lot of people who are on the consciousness path, they're like, I've been working on that for years. And they feel this frustration and trepidation and like, when is it ever going to end? And it does this woe is me victim spiral, which then disempowers you. But here's the truth of it: everything you've done up until now has actually helped you. To
mhm,
me, instead of calling it layers of the onion, I like to think of it as layers of the artichoke, because as you peel away those leaves and layers, you then get to the heart, which is this yummy, tasty, beautiful heart, which is the essence of who you are. When you get all the mud taken off of you, when you get all those wounds and traumas and self limiting beliefs and negative family legacies and negative imprints, when those are removed, all those layers are removed, what's left is love. It's your heart, it's your true essence that can just beam and radiate out
yeah.
and, you know, be love, be light.
Yeah, and I think too, like one of the things that happens when we're in fear and we've got those layers is we don't necessarily we're afraid to take steps forward into the unknown. Even if there's something where you're like, you need to take a step in this direction, but you're just so scared of the unknown. And so, but if you take that step, then things just open up. And so that's one of those things where I think we're so terrified, and that's the subconscious parts of our mind or these programs, like you mentioned. I think you mentioned generational, and so there's a lot of it's generational that comes from whatever. Like, I was raised in a family that part of the lineage was on the Trail of Tears, So I mean that
Mm,
has a lot of stuff that comes with it, and also a grandmother was born or was a child during the Great Depression. So I mean, there's a lot of things where we pass that on to our generational, and sometimes it goes down 5 and 6 and 12 generations. So And we bring that. I believe we bring it into our DNA, but it does. I don't think it really matters. It's generational.
Well, if you're
So,
vibrating it at a subliminal subconscious level, it's going to affect you. So when I look clairvoyantly at somebody's timeline, I can see, okay, well, this experience happened. This equates to a triggering trauma. And then we just keep going back. Okay, this looks like the originating trauma. This looks like, the imprint from, you know, being 2 years old and your parents yelled at you for making such a mess and having your toys strewn out, and the inner child created this belief that you were a bad girl and unworthy and undeserving of their love, and then created this whole story that may still be rippling and affecting you now in adulthood. And sometimes when I follow the timeline, it's like you have to bounce it in and like look even at past life stuff and what is bleeding into this current life and release that as well. And it doesn't have to be hard. It just takes willingness. this is this is what my intention is for people.
That was easy.
It's my easy button, It's like
that I'm gonna remember that one because I was looking at the camera and I wasn't necessarily, and I was like, what? Just that was
yeah.
great. I'm also laughing because I know my friend's watching, and he doesn't like onions, and I know he doesn't like artichokes, so he's probably sitting there going, "Ooh, artichoke," and I
Just think about the heart, which is in the center. That's it.
and you're peeling back the layers in the heart. It's not an onion.
No, you're getting to the heart. Just be the love. Be the love.
So these layers or these frequencies or these energies or whatever we're looking for, and this is why we're not living to our fullest potential. Somebody says I always go to the layers of the lettuce.
Are you a romaine lettuce? Are you a butter lettuce? Right. Pick whatever analogy works.
Analogy you want.
If you like the ocean, maybe it's going to like the deepest crevices in the deep waters. But the point is, get to the bottom. Get to love.
So these are the things. What I was kind of asking is that, so obviously these are the things that prevent us from having our prosperity, our abundance, or our, we've all these ideas of like this is what I've been working on recently, and I think a lot of people could work on this. Our source or our abundance comes from multiple areas. So we get caught up in it's either coming, if we have a job, it's only coming from our job. If we're an entrepreneur, that's only coming from one source of our business. And there's all these unlimited ideas of where it's coming from. So that's one of the things that I know this is work that you do, where you help people realize the unlimited potential of where your abundance can come from, so to speak.
Yes. I mean, there's obviously financial money abundance, but there's also just being open to the abundance from the divine, which is limitless. It can be an abundance of love, of blessings, of joy, of healing, of lightness, of tenderness and sweetness and compassion. Like it doesn't have to be only money. And when you can open up the receiving muscles, and it literally to me looks like receiving muscles, and you are a yes to receiving, feeling safe enough to receive the good things. You couple the receiving muscles with boundaries, right? So you're a yes for the good things and you're a no thank you for those negative, yucky things, right? You're a yes to money, you're a yes to love, and you're a no to, negative energies, fears, worries, anxieties, other people's scarcity and poverty consciousness, and you continue to be a yes for money, love, health, joy, right? It's being able to live in the and. Like, how do you receive and be unavailable for the stuff that has probably been bogging you down? especially if you're an empath, a feeler who can feel what's happening in the state of the world and within your family unit. I mean, I suffered from that a lot growing up where I didn't know what was my stuff and what was other people's stuff. It wasn't until my 20s when I even first started the exploration of mine, not mine, boundaries,
Yeah, so let's
contamination
back up
from
to that because
others.
let's back up to that real quick because you the internet went out or whatever StreamYard just froze up just because I know this is something you work on is boundaries and you mentioned yes saying yes with boundaries, and I just want to make sure everybody gets this because I know this is something that we all struggle with and I know it's something you work on that you teach people.
Okay, boundaries. Here's my little show and tell. So get your little snow globe, have a little like bright and shiny sparklies in your space. Okay. So if this is your space, we also have an energetic boundary. It's like a filter, which you can program it to say, I'm a yes for good things like the love, money, health, joy. I'm a no, thank you to other people's fears, stressors, worries, anxieties, etc. Right? Most people, when they think of a boundary, they just think of a verbal boundary, like they might have expressed a need or express something verbally to somebody, but it wasn't honored, and then they get pissed off that the person didn't honor their boundary. But when I'm looking clairvoyantly, I'm like, well, I don't actually even see an energetic boundary. They're not owning it. So it's not even
Mm,
registering on the other end as a boundary or a request. So I help people clear out all the fears, the I don't feel safe stuff, which can be pretty deep, and release those wounds around not feeling safe, all the times you've been disrespected, dishonored, hurt, betrayed, and replace it with healthy boundaries. Here's
mm.
another thing about boundaries that I notice. Um, People say, well, I expressed a boundary and I'm looking energetically, and it looks to me like a defensive wall. Like, for example, if there was anger and frustration infused with their verbal request of what they were assuming was a boundary. Like it looks like a fire breathing dragon, of anger energy being projected, but that's not a boundary. That's a defensive wall.
Right.
Or sometimes those defensive walls can look like sharp, jagged edges, or maybe there's numbness, so you can't feel it, and the good energies aren't going in and out easily. There's about 16 different types of boundaries that I see clairvoyantly, or I'm sorry, 16 different defensive walls and guards and shields that I see clairvoyantly, but none of those are a healthy boundary. And there's often emotions woven into it, fears, traumas, anger, resentment woven into those, where a boundary is neutral. There's no emotion, there's no anger in it, there's no fear in it. It just is a matter of fact. It's like, this is my space, that's your space.
Jacqueline picking up what she's putting down. Good stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. Good. I'm glad I'm connecting with you. Right? So a healthy boundary has no emotion. It's just a matter of fact. It's like, this is what I'm a yes for, this is what I'm a no for. Period. So when you heal the deeper wounds and you allow for healthy space and boundaries and allow yourself to be better with your receiving muscles, good things happen. And if you get into more intuition and guidance as one of those good things that you're receiving, follow it up with action. I think a lot of us spiritual people, we don't always follow through on the actions. So one of the discerning questions that I learned to ask the universe when I get those downloads is, When? When would you like me to do this thing? By when? Because I would get downloads. This happened to me in my early 20s. I got a download about something that I assumed because it was intuition that I should just do it right away. But it was like 8 to 10 years too early. And so I was spinning my
Mm,
wheels, spinning my wheels, spinning my wheels, spinning
because you
my
weren't
wheels.
ready.
And then by the
Yeah.
time like year 6 came along, I was so burnt out on that thing that I had no more zest and like passion for it. And then a year or two later, the market just hit and I would have made so much money. Right? So asking the question by when for us intuitive folks is absolutely important. And then taking the action when you get the by when date.
I think that comes down to the old divine timing, divine order, divine plan, make it easy.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because we'll try to. I had this huge, beautiful vision probably in 2007, 2008, and it just felt like I was very heavy and thing. You'd get this little, it'd go forward, and then it wouldn't, and then it would go forward, and then it wouldn't. But perseverance is, I think, is a key thing too. Even though. Yeah. So yeah, while feeling that, of course, we've all been intuitive people. We love this, and but don't you think like I really feel like everybody has some level of intuition, and whether they're open to it or not. Like you were mentioning when you were a kid, you were just kind of trying to figure it out and trying to understand what was happening to you. And I had the same thing. Like I would have dogs. We lived in this little town in Creel Springs, and everywhere I would go, little dogs would follow me. And it was
Mhm.
just interesting because I never understood it until later on. Well, they were like, "Whoa, somebody that can actually hear me and understand me."
Yep. Animals were my best friends growing up. My dad still has like a petting zoo at his house. I mean, I've always had so many animals in my life, and they were safe to connect with and talk to as an empath. It's like there's such a deep connection, which is one of the reasons why I actually created an Etsy shop, Empaths for Pets. If you go to
Mm.
empathsforpets.com, you can see all the merch that I actually created for us, pet lovers, because it's fun, you know.
That's true. And it's fun. By the way, I'm just putting up here real quick so you guys can have it. I did do the freebie earlier, but this is her website, and so you can go check it out. There's also other freebies on here. I just chose to do this one, which is the money
Money magnet.
magnet. And so that's something. So there's quite a few amazing things on there. She has her own podcast as well that I think that you would enjoy. I've actually been a guest on her podcast before. And
Yes,
so,
my Soul of an Empath podcast. Check out my episode with him. Can I give him one more gift? Because
yeah, of course.
I'm a generous, heart-centered person that just loves giving,
Yeah, of course.
And so if you feel connected with me and resonate with me, schedule a free, this is a gift to you, a free 15-minute complimentary blind spot strategy session. And you can book that by just typing in your URL, callwithtiffany.com. Callwithtiffany.com. And it'll get you on my calendar, and then we can connect and see how I might be able to support you at an even deeper level, and you know help illuminate things that you've probably been struggling with. So yes, callwithtiffany.com, and
Awesome.
let's get started.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Thank you so much. Any last minute thoughts or wisdom that you would like to give anybody that's listening?
in
Or,
addition to opening up your receiving muscles, I want to leave you with the question that I personally live by. Okay. So, everyone, take a deep breath, drop into your heart space, because this is so simple and yet so good. Okay. So, anytime you have a decision to make, or maybe you're going through a turbulent time, just drop into your heart and ask your heart, what would love say? Or what would love do? And the answers that you get are phenomenal. So if I need to have a conversation with someone, or I need to write a marketing promo of something, what would love say? And then just let it come out. If there's an action that I'm trying to get discernment and clarity on, I would ask, what would love do? So we can just touch our heart, take a deep breath, and just ask, what would love say? Or what would love do? And then do it. That's like follow through.
Gonna change Tina Turner's song to "What Would Love Do" instead of "What's Love Got to Do with It." So
Yeah.
that that'll definitely work. So well, awesome, everybody. But don't forget, callwithtiffany.com, and then the highly perceptive people academy.com is the other one where the other freebies are at. So um, thank you, Tiffany, for being on the show. Definitely a pleasure always. And so, and everybody connect with her. I mean, what are you waiting for? You should already be at the website. So, anyways,
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
you're very much welcome. And everybody, I'll probably start doing more live streams. It's just, got a lot of stuff going on. The symposium's this weekend. So if you haven't signed up for the symposium, it's myinnertemple.org. And there's going to be some pretty great people there as well. So much love, everybody. Thank you so much.
Namaste. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.